This is your host to welcome you through the creaking door into the Inner Sanctum. Come in. Hey, how about joining our Shriek of the Month Club? We're offering free a shroud-bound copy of Die Alone and Like It. It's about an unsuccessful authoress who dies of marital illness. Yes, her husband got sick of her. However, he was thoughtful enough to bury his novelist wife in the basement. And now, at last, she's in the bestseller class. And now for tonight's gruesome little item. Oh, you better not disturb that fellow in the corner. He's our ghost of honor tonight. Poor guy. He died last night for lack of sleep. Now he's in for a wake. Meet John Thompson, age 29, driving a blue coupe across the George Washington Bridge, heading west.
It's kind of a close night. Heat lightning is dancing up in the sky when I come down off the bridge into Jersey. Running a mobile gas station isn't bad when things are breaking right. But the way things are, I figure I'll do better out west. I hit the highway and let her out of it. I spot her a few miles past the bridge. She's standing there by the side of the road, out in the middle of nothing. I don't know exactly why, but I stop. Want a lift?
Thanks.
Hop in. Going far?
Not very.
Well, yell when you want me to leave you off, huh? My name's Thompson. It's John Thompson.
Hello, Johnny.
Yeah. Hello. What's your name?
Anne.
Where in particular are you heading for?
I don't know.
But...
I'll know when we get there.
Yeah, sure. Look, this ain't the old routine, but you look like I kind of know you from someplace.
Do I?
I don't remember from where or when, but your face... maybe it just reminds me of somebody I used to know. Don't anymore.
Maybe.
You don't remember me, huh?
Should I, Johnny?
Well, it would be kind of more sociable.
I'll try, Johnny.
We go on like that for a couple of 3 miles. Her not saying anything and me sneaking looks at her. She's pretty young and nice to have next to you, but there's this feeling that I ought to know her and don't. And I get to wondering where she's going in the middle of the night. Hey, Ann.
Yes, Johnny.
Maybe we can get some music. The knob for turning on the radio is over on your side. See it?
All right.
They got these all-night programs for people like us, you know, driving at night or jockeying a truck or sitting up with a sick friend.
Our next request number just phoned in this minute by a young lady named Ann. Well, we can't make out your last name, Ann, but anyway, Lou's going right ahead and play it for you. Lou White at the piano, playing Stardust.
He plays a nice piano, huh?
Very nice.
Kind of funny, a girl with the same name as yours just phoning in to the show and we started listening to it. I mean, with the same first name.
Is it?
Yeah, well, I guess it's a coincidence.
I like Stardust.
Maybe you better try another station.
Why? I like Stardust.
Yeah, but get another station.
I'm happy with this one.
Get another station or turn the set off. I don't care which. Do what I'm telling you.
Why?
Don't ask me why. I can't take that music. It bothers me. Now, will you please?
No.
I said, will you please turn it off?
No.
Look, it's my car. It's my radio. I want you to... Oh, never mind. I'll turn it off myself.
Better watch the road. You might have an accident.
I'll turn it off myself. And I'll let go of my hand.
No. I don't want you to turn it off.
Let go. I got to keep my other hand on the wheel.
I won't let go. I want you to listen to Stardust. I like it.
But I don't. I'm warning you.
Very pretty.
All right. This is what you wanted.
Just shout me.
I told you to turn it off.
Leah, you let go. Oh, Leah.
You wouldn't listen to me. No. No, it's too late. Ann! It's all black for a while, and then there were streaks of light through the blackness. I shook my head. I was conscious again. I slid forward under the wheel, and the car hit the tree. Pulled myself up, got out of the car. Look, it wasn't damaged bad. The bumper had taken most of the shock when we hit. One fender was crumpled. Then I remembered. Ann. She was dead, I knew. I felt her neck give before we crashed. I swallowed hard for a couple of seconds and went back to the car. Looked in. She wasn't there. She wasn't anywhere near the car. She hadn't been thrown clear. She must be dead. Still, she wasn't there, not anywhere. I drove away. Fast. My head don't feel so good, but I stop thinking as I go through the night. I do puzzles and arithmetic, multiplication. 49 times 76, 102 times 27, so I won't think. Not thinking isn't easy when you're alone, so when I see a diner, I think that's for me. And I stop and get out. I walk over to the diner. The air's still heavy and the crickets are raising cane. I go in.
What'll it be, mister?
Job and a hamburger.
Sure. Coming up.
Yeah, it's a hot night, ain't it?
Huh? Oh, I didn't notice you sitting next to me. Yeah, it's plenty hot.
You're driving a nice car. Yeah, I noticed you pulling in.
That's all right.
Hey,
Yeah, looks good.
Say, Joe, I was wondering, you going far?
Far enough.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. West?
Uh-huh.
How about me riding with you for a bit? My feet are getting awful tired holding me up.
Well, sure, I guess so.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I could use a bit of company for such...
Hey, you dropped your coffee.
I'm sorry. Did I get any of it on you?
No, you missed, but your hands are trembling.
Well, I'm tired. Come on, let's get out of here. Hey, that'll take care of my check.
But, hey, you ain't finished your hamburger.
I'm not hungry.
Well, you mind if I work it over?
No, of course not. Only let's get out of here.
Sure is a dark night, huh?
Hurry up, will you?
Yeah. Dark enough to hide a corpse in.
So, what did you mean back there by dark enough to hide a corpse in?
Nothing. Just an expression. Why?
It seemed like a funny thing to say.
I don't think so. Hey, you better slow down. We're going through a town.
It's deserted this hour of night.
No, it ain't. Look at that, down near the corner.
Huh? Where?
You seen her, huh? Standing under that lamppost. Pretty as a picture, ain't she? Hey, slow down, will you? Maybe she wants a lift.
You're crazy.
Well, look, she's giving us the thumb. We're gonna pass her in a minute.
And don't bother me.
Yeah, but... Hey, she's calling you. She knows you. You can't pass up a girl like that.
Will you shut up?
I don't get it. You was willing to give a hobo like me a lift, and you don't even know me. You know that
She's
girl.
not there. She can't be.
Well, you seen her.
No.
You looked where I was pointing. You heard her.
No. All right, yes, I did, but she's not real. She couldn't be.
Why?
She's dead.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because I saw her die.
Yeah?
Yeah, in an accident. 100 miles from here.
Well, then what was she doing under that lamppost?
I don't know. Maybe it was a ghost. Maybe I'm going crazy.
I seen her.
Then maybe you're dead, too. And the ghost riding with me.
Well, look at you. Chips off an old block of ice. Splinters from the petrified forest. Or are you always that way? Oh, you're not really frightened. Just pretending, huh? Well, then suppose you climb down off that chandelier and listen to the rest of the story about John Thompson, who took a girl for a boogie ride. John and the bum he'd picked up rode on for a while in silence. Night was closer and heavier, and John was tired.
Hey, watch it, will you?
Oh, sorry. I closed my eyes for a second.
Well, you better keep them open. It's healthier.
Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of pooped. It's been a long night.
That chatter about ghosts,
Yeah?
how come?
Oh, I was kidding.
You were, huh? It wouldn't be because...
How would you like to get out?
I'd like it fine. I get nervous riding with a guy who turns green when you mention corpses. Hey, watch that bridge! Hey, you nearly dunked us in that stream.
I can't keep my eyes open. What if I wash my face? Bathe my eyes with cold water?
Yeah, that's an idea.
You can stay in the car. I'll only be a couple of seconds.
Well, I'll go along. I could use a drink.
Yeah, water. Looks good. Dark, peaceful. You know, you could sleep in water like that.
Yeah, sure, but you wouldn't wake up. Go on, wash.
Huh? Oh, yeah. It's swell.
Sure.
Cold. It's good.
Uh-huh. Good for what ails you. But what does ail you, mister?
Nothing. I'm tired, that's all. Getting sleepy. I'm better now.
Okay.
Well, let's get back to the car.
I'm walking the rest of the way.
What?
Yeah.
But-
I want to get there.
There's nothing wrong with my driving.
Well, I didn't say there was, mister. But are you sure there ain't something wrong with you?
All right. Walk. I don't need anybody to ride with.
No, mister. You already got somebody or something riding with you.
So I walked back to the car. Get in. I'll pay no attention, the old bum said. Nothing wrong with me. Nothing. Start the car and drive off. Down the highway into the darkness. It's a long night. Maybe the longest night I ever lived. But it's only night someplace, west of New York, and that's all. The storm hanging overhead, never breaking. That's all.
Hello, Johnny.
It's her. Sitting right next to me. When she saw me looking at her, she smiled.
Hello, Johnny.
Oh. I didn't expect to see you again.
No, Johnny?
Oh, I left you so far behind.
Not so far behind.
Yeah, but I guess you must have got a list on some other car, faster car than mine, huh? That's how you got ahead of me.
Way ahead of you, Johnny.
Yeah, that's the way it was. Sure. You're all right, though.
I'm all right. Very all right.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, eh? I mean, funny, ain't it? Yeah, the rain's still holding off, you know. You're not going to sworn it poured hours ago?
Why are you talking so much, Johnny?
Because I'm afraid, Ann.
When will we get there, Johnny?
Get where?
Where you're going?
I don't know. Why?
Because I'm going there with you.
Oh. Yeah?
What?
Nothing. Back again. That song's back again. I don't have to take it. I can't take it. She oughtn't to sing that song. I told her I didn't like it. I'm not going to tell her again. It won't do any good. This time I'm going to play it smart and sure. She's looking straight ahead, watching the road slide under the headlights. So I choked the car. Hey!
What is it, Johnny?
Motor. Oh, there's be something wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, I better get out and see.
I'll wait here.
Sure. Get the hood up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ann,
Yes?
I can fix it, but will you bring me the wrench?
Where is it?
In the dashboard compartment.
All right. I got it, Johnny.
Swell. Will you bring it to me?
Here it is, Johnny.
Thanks. Now all I have to do is... Hey, what's that behind you?
Where?
Well, turn around. You'll see.
All right.
So she turned her back to me, looks down the road we came, and I lift the heavy wrench. And I...
No!
This time I made sure. She's dead, lying on the road. But I still got to make sure she won't, even dead, be riding with me again. So I lift her up, put her back in the car. Get in myself next to her. Yeah, start the car up. I remember the stream. It's not much of a stream, but deep enough for a thin girl to lie in. That's where I go. It don't take long to get back to the stream and the bridge over, which is where I stop. Nobody around. Only the darkness and the water flowing underneath, where Ann is going to lie. But before I let her go, I dig out my tools. Tire iron, wrenches, a jack, heavy stuff. Tie them to her, so she'll lie quiet under the water. When I get done. She's heavy now. Heavier than she ever was before. But I lift her over the rail and hold her for a second in my arms, and then I let her go. She drops quick and not awful loud into the water. Drops to the bottom of the stream, where maybe it'll be soft and cool for her. And well, I gotta get away from here fast. Fast! Every time the wheel turns around, every time the valves open and close, every time the sparks fire, I'm getting further away from her. This time she isn't going to follow me. This time she's deep under the water with irons tied to her and her head bashed in. I'd never turn around again and find her sitting next to me. I'd never hear her calling Johnny again. I'd never see her eyes or her thin body again. Clouds are pressing down now. No more moon. Thunder's purring closer like a big cat. I don't care. I'm through with her forever now. I'm so happy I could sing. Oh, no. The skies are opening up. The light is turning off and on like God's neon sign. The thunder's pounding in my head. I go faster. Hit a curve. Take it at 60. Standing there, lit by the light, and it's... Gas pedal down to the floor. The motor's roaring like 100 horses screaming. We're pulling up the hill with rain slanting against the window pane like a million fingers tapping on my brain. The top of the hill swept by the wind, her wet dress plastered against her body. I can't take it much more. The car's sliding down the wet road like death on butter, and she's there all the time now. Running with the car, face plastered against the closed window next seat.
Johnny.
Ann, you're dead.
Am I, Johnny?
You're dead. I killed you. Don't you remember?
No, Johnny.
Back there, I hit you. I dropped you into the water. I hit you. You're dead.
Am I, Johnny?
No, not now, Ann. Please, please.
You're tired, Johnny. Tired of running away. Isn't the road too long? The road away from me?
Go away. Go away, Ann.
No.
You want to drive me mad?
No, Johnny.
Then what do you want?
Just to go with you to the end of your road.
But where's that?
Why, maybe here. Maybe right here. In this town, Johnny. In this town.
Yeah. It's a town. It's a small place, and I'm riding through it. The storm dying out. Dying out. Yeah, and the air's clear now. Fresh after the storm. Anne? No, she's gone. Now, the thing is, where? Oh, right up ahead. Sure. They always have one. Yeah, with a green light shining over the door. And they're always open. And there's always a sergeant half sleeping in the chair behind the desk. Hello?
Oh, what do you want?
My name is John Thompson.
All right, so your name is John Thompson. So what?
If you check, I think you'll find that I'm wanted.
Wanted? For what?
For the murder of my wife, Ann Thompson.
Huh? Hey, don't move. I got you covered.
I killed her in our apartment in New York City.
Come on. Stick your hands out.
When I killed her, the radio was on. They were playing Starter.
How'd you like our new arrangement of Stardust? We're billing it this week as tune number 1 of the Murderer's Hot Parade. With, of course, a boogeyman beat on a new grave lane. Oh, yes. Before I stop off for a little chat with John in that one-way death cell of his, let me give you a bit of homicidal advice. Never kill your wife with the radio on. Tune in later. Well, friends, it's time once again to close that creaking door. Until next week at the same time, when we'll be back with a little hunk of horror. You'll be sure to listen, won't you? Until next week, then. Good night. Pleasant dreams.
Inner Sanctum has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service. Inner Sanctum Mysteries.
Good evening, friends of the creaking door. This is your host to welcome you back into the Inner Sanctum for another half hour out of this world. Say hello to one of our hapless heroines. Her spouse said he was going to the club one evening, but he brought it back and clouded her with it. The poor girl was almost decapitated, which shows what can happen when you lose your head. Anyway, the whole affair was responsible for the song's success. You hit the spot. All right, friends. Turn out the light. Plaster your hair down, curdle close to the fire, and listen to Arnold Moss tell us his weird and shivery story.
It was after sundown, and I was working in my garden fixing the roses when I first saw Jane Carter. The soft spring air was full of the smell of flowers, and in the cemetery next to my house, long shadows were covering the graves with darkness. Jane Carter was standing under the dogwood tree, the tree I never touched. I picked up the garden shears, and I came over to her.
Oh, I didn't notice you in the shadow.
Good evening.
I hope you don't mind. I was just admiring your lovely garden.
Oh, do you love flowers, too?
I adore them.
Oh, then I will give you some of the roses. My roses won the county prize last year. Oh, I am Franz Narco, the caretaker of the cemetery.
You live here alone?
all alone with my flowers. Here, hold out your arms. Here are some roses.
Thank you. I imagine it must be lonely here. There isn't a house for miles.
Oh, not too lonely. The dead are always near. Hold the flowers close to your face.
All right, but why?
They make you look even lovelier than you are. So young and charming. The roses next to your neck, they look like blood.
Really, Mr. Narco, I must...
Don't move.
But, Mr. Narco...
Be quiet.
Those garden shears. What are you going to do?
Don't be frightened. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm just going to do this. My dear. The little birds were frightened, but when she was dead, they began to sing again. That night, there was a full moon, and I buried Jane Carter under the dahlia bed.
Police headquarters, Chief Dane speaking. No, Jane Carter's still missing. She was last seen yesterday afternoon. If we don't hear by tonight, we're going to send out an 8-state alarm. Yes, goodbye.
Good morning, Ethan.
Franz, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Ethan. I brought you some flowers. They're blooming early this year. Today is the 27th, you know.
April 27th. Yes, Franz, I expected you. You haven't missed a visit on the 27th in 20 years.
It seems incredible. On April the 27th, 20 years ago, my wife, Martha, disappeared. And in all this time, you haven't found any trace of her.
Maybe we do know the man responsible for her disappearance.
You don't mean you found her?
Did you see the courier this morning?
Yes.
Did you see a small item about a pretty young girl named Jane Carter who was reported missing?
Well, yes, I did notice a little story, but what has that got to do with my wife?
I'll tell you, Franz. But this must be kept in strict confidence. Every year since your wife disappeared, we've had reports of 2, sometimes 3 young women who disappeared and were never heard of again.
Just what are you trying to tell me?
That somewhere in this country there's a homicidal maniac. A person who, for some reason or other, hates pretty young women.
Huh?
Hates them enough to murder them and dispose of their bodies.
Oh, that's shocking. You think Martha fell into the hands of this maniac?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you tell me this before?
I didn't want you to lose hope. I know how you felt about Martha.
Oh, she was so lovely. And only 19 when... You've got to find this person, Ethan.
Franz, it's bigger than I can handle. Now, look, you've had more schooling than I. I know you read a lot in that little cottage of yours next to the cemetery. Maybe you know more about why a human being would do a thing like this.
Oh, yes, Ethan, I do know. It's because sometimes the murderer has been hurt deeply. Maybe by a woman he loved who has been unfaithful. And when he sees other women, pretty, attractive young women, they remind him of her. And then he's suddenly overcome by a strange emotion to seize them, to overpower them, to make them suffer for what they did to him, to destroy them, to murder them, to...
Go on, Franz.
But that's what it says in the books I've read, Ethan. I've got to go now. Be sure to put those roses in water right away, or they'll die.
I won't let them die, Franz. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I could have told him more, much more. How it felt to live in a nightmare of fear. How I tried to fight the wild surging of my blood, that mad, insane pounding that made me kill. Later that night, when the dogwood scent came into my room, I cried. I cried like a child. I was thinking of Martha. My beautiful Martha. Two days later, I saw Ethan again. He surprised me by knocking at my door late in the afternoon.
Franz, I drove up here to ask a favor of you.
Of course, Ethan. Anything you want.
I believe there's a tomb in the cemetery that's never been used.
You mean the one old Mrs. Smith built?
Yes, that's the one.
Why, I always have to laugh when I think of it. Old Mrs. Smith was so fussy about that tomb, but she died at sea, and she was never buried in it.
Well, there's someone I'd like to have buried in it.
There is?
Yes. A young girl. Died of a heart attack. Helen Winters is her name. Judging from her clothes and those who knew her, she apparently comes from a good family, but we can't seem to locate them.
Well, why don't you bury her in Potter's Field, like the others?
Because I think her family will eventually want the body. Couldn't you put her in the Smith tomb?
I guess so. I don't think Mrs. Smith would mind.
Good. I'll have the body brought up in an hour.
The body was brought in a coffin by Ethan and one of his men. I opened the tomb. There were no mourners, no one to say a few words. I cut some of my flowers and brought them to her tomb.
Would you like to see her before you lock the tomb again, Franz?
Why, yes.
There.
Oh, what a pity. She's so young and so strangely beautiful. She looks as though she would get up out of the coffin at any moment. I brought some flowers, lilies, from my greenhouse.
That's very thoughtful of you, Franz. You love these flowers, don't you?
Well, they're all I have since Martha vanished. What are you doing there?
Just looking at the petal.
They're soft to the touch, like a woman's skin.
Yes.
Ethan.
What's the matter?
You tore that petal. You ripped it.
It's just a flower petal.
Stop it! Stop it!
Franz!
Stop hurting the flowers! Stop it, you fool! Stop it! Oh, I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't mean to hit you. I lost my head. I can't see anyone harm a flower like that. I couldn't sleep that night. Somewhere far in the countryside, a dog was baying at the moon. I went to my window. My garden was all silver in the moonlight. And then I noticed it. The dogwood tree. A strange glow like a fine blue fire hung over the branch near the patch of iris. It was shining with a light that was not of this world. And then I saw the face of Helen Winters. She was staring at the glowing branch. It was the dead girl wearing the shroud she wore in the coffin. I quietly slipped downstairs. On the way into the garden, I picked up the shears.
Are you looking for me, Mr. Narco?
You're Helen Winters.
Yes, that is one of my names.
But you can't be here. You're dead.
Yes, I am dead.
But this is a trick. Who are you?
Look, I have something to show you.
The branch of the dogwood tree.
Yes. You see how it shines in the moonlight?
Yes.
Look at it closely.
But why? What are you... Oh!
You see it?
There's a ring. The branch grew right through it. Martha. It's Martha's ring.
Is it?
But how did you... Give that to me.
No.
But that belonged to my wife. I must have it.
No.
I looked at her standing there among the flowers. Oh, she was beautiful. And the moonlight made her look like a woman in a dream. And suddenly I felt the strange power rising in my blood. I longed to touch her, to seize her. I tightened the grip on my shears and came closer to her.
The still like flowers? If you do, I know a way for you to get lots of them. Free of charge. Where were we? Oh, yes. The flowers were blooming over all the bodies of the people Franz had murdered. And he was talking to a corpse who was picking dogwood blossoms by the light of the moon.
The blossoms have a lovely scent.
Have they?
Those shears.
Yes.
I know why the ring was on this branch.
Do you?
And I know what you intend to do. Did you kill her with the shears, too?
Come here.
All right.
I have your hand and its flesh. You can't get away now.
I don't want to get away.
You're not afraid?
No. I'll show you how afraid I am.
What are you going to do?
You will see.
Her face came closer. I felt her lips on mine. It was the first time I kissed a woman in 20 years. But was she a woman? It was warm flesh I kissed, and I knew it. I broke away from her. I swung wildly with my shears, and suddenly I felt her hand on my face. I smelled the scent of 1,000 flowers overpowering me, making me giddy. She swayed in front of me as I plunged the shears into her body, and then suddenly I felt myself sink into a sea of flowers. I opened my eyes. I was lying in the patch of iris. I saw the moon glowing blood red shining through the dogwood tree. I got up. What had happened? I must have been unconscious. My shears were lying on the ground where I had fallen. Helen Winters had disappeared. I picked up the shears, got my keys, went to the tomb. I opened the door, and then I opened the coffin. She was lying there, not a wound on her. I couldn't believe it. I raised the shears. I would find out that...
You'd better get away from that coffin.
What made you come here, Ethan?
Never mind. What's this? A sprig of dogwood and that ring.
You recognize it?
Yes. It belonged to Martha. I gave it to her before she married you. You murdered her, didn't you?
Is it necessary to take out your gun, Ethan?
I'm afraid so.
You really believe I killed Martha?
I believe you buried her under the dogwood tree in your garden.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Franz, I want the truth. I want a full confession.
What makes you think I killed her?
I haven't any proof yet, but that body can be exhumed.
I suppose you'd accuse me of killing all those girls who disappeared, too.
Yes, Franz. I think you killed them, too.
He looked closely at me. Suddenly I realized that his hand was shaking. He was frightened. He, too, was stalling for time. Why? Of course. There must be some of his men coming here. He was afraid to take me alone.
What do you say, Franz? I can assure you it will be a lot easier for you if you confess.
But I have nothing to confess. What made you come here tonight?
It was just a hunch.
You're lying. Look there. There are two men coming up here, policemen. I suppose they came here by accident, too.
Where? I don't see anything.
I have your gun, Ethan. Now get up. Get up!
Franz, put that gun down. You don't know what you're doing.
Oh, yes, I know very well. I have been waiting for this moment for 20 years.
No, Franz, please, you can't.
You wanted a confession? Well, you'll have it. Yes, I killed Martha. I murdered her, and she is buried under the dogwood tree. That's what you wanted to know, isn't it?
Yes, but...
And I'll tell you about the others now, too. I killed them, all of them. Their bodies are in my garden. And now is the time for you to confess, Ethan.
What do you mean?
I mean you and Martha.
Martha?
She loved you.
No, she didn't. I loved her. After she met you, she wouldn't have a thing to do with me. If that's why you killed her...
Yes, Ethan, that's why I killed her. But you're as much to blame as she was.
No, neither of us was to blame. There was never anything between us, and I can prove it.
You're lying.
I have a letter here. Let me show you.
Your lies won't keep me here until your men arrive. You're going to die now.
No, Franz. Read the letter. Franz, don't. Read the letter.
He was dead. And in his hand was a letter. I picked it up. I heard a noise. It was in the vault. I went to the girl lying so still in a coffin. Was she alive? I would find out. So you are alive. Get up. Get up out of that coffin. They're gone.
Please, don't.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, please.
Ethan put you here, didn't he?
Yes, I'll explain everything.
What happened in the garden?
I had a little vial of chloroform. I broke it when you tried to kill me. The fumes made you unconscious.
Chloroform? That was when I felt your hand on my face, and I kept stabbing you, but you would not die. How did he know Martha was buried under the dogwood tree?
I told her. I dug under that tree while you were unconscious.
Well, that's strange now, isn't it? You would never have known about it if the tree, as it grew, hadn't caught up the ring and pushed it out on one of its branches. It's as though nature itself were accusing me. Here, don't you try to get away. Stand still. Oh, you are beautiful and evil, like all of them, like Martha. I'm going to kill you.
No, don't.
The gun is empty. Here, come back here. You're not getting away. I still have these.
The garden shears.
Yes, the garden shears.
Let go of me.
No, I'm going to...
Are you up? Help me! Hurry!
I ran out of the tomb. I saw 4 men coming across the graveyard in the moonlight. I ran. The girl came out of the vault and screamed. They began firing at me. I ran across the moonlit cemetery, stumbling, falling, running for my life. I felt a piercing pain in my thigh. I fell and struck my head against a gravestone. Here in the hospital, they tell me I will recover from my wounds. But of course, I'll have to be tried. I know I shall be put to death. Oh, yes, the letter Ethan tried to show me, it was just a few lines, dated April 27th, 20 years ago. It read, Dear Ethan, please come to see Franz and convince him that there never was anything between us and that I am not seeing you now. It doesn't believe that I have always loved only him. Martha. You see, my killing her, it was all a mistake. A mistake that twisted a thread in my mind. I would like lots of flowers on my grave. Lilies, roses. Yes. Many, many blood-red roses.
Send me 1 dozen roses and put my heart in beside them. Good old Franz, he takes his popular ballads quite literally. Which brings us to the moral for tonight's story. Never decapitate the woman you love. You know how angry people get when they lose their heads. And now, friends, it's time once again to close that creaking door. Until next week at the same time. Next week's story is about a boy and a girl who go off on their honeymoon and then discover that 2's fine, but 3's a crowd, especially when number 3 is a corpse. Now, what the boy and girl said to that corpse and what the corpse said to them, Well, you'll just have to wait until next week to hear about it. Until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Inner Sanctum has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.